we're going live. Oh, that's going to be so cool. Connecting to chat. And again, we're running OBS as admin, so hopefully...
It worked last time, didn't it?
It works well. It seems to work really well, yeah.
Ooh.
Although, I did upload our last actual Iyastera session to YouTube with all of the glitches, because there was no way for me to really edit that out, because we kept going. And I just put like a warning in the YouTube video description saying, stream gremlins ahead. You are getting the unfiltered Heroes of Iyastera.
Yeah.
This is how you know we are not doing like any sort of crazy production. Let's just do that. Get our campaign. Yeah, we're looking good. We've got Google Meet. Oh, I should have a different background, huh? I'll just get my which background do I want?
That Shield Creations had 30 views in 2 days.
That was nice.
That's
yeah.
good.
That's good.
Oh, I wanted to put the Kickstarter one on YouTube as well, because I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, I think you should 100% do that, yeah. I think it'd be really interesting for a lot of people. I can imagine it would be.
Well, they got to see your...
It's kind of free tutorial, isn't it?
It is. And they got to see your fantastic workshop leader prowess ahead of time.
It's fun, really good fun.
We go on Western?
Western, yeah. Western Trail. Gobbo Western Trail.
The chaos.
I heard tell of a market.
Amazing.
Everyone can hear all of my horrible faux southern accents. Because I was born in the South, raised in the South, but across different states in the South, so I don't have a like specifically southern accent. It ends up just being very, very generic. So we'll have a little bit of Georgia, a little bit of Texas, just sprinkled all in there.
Nice.
I want to hear all of you have some Western accents as well.
Not gonna happen.
God.
I've been awkwardly avoiding any sort of British accent. Even though that's like one of
true.
the horrible go-to, not horrible, but like one of the funky go-tos. Very common for fantasy. Riley's in there.
I was like, oh, I'm
Hi,
gonna
Riley.
lean into it with Fen. I was like, oh, the easiest accent to do
Love
is
it.
just like a slightly posher English accent for me. That's very easy.
I loved it. Yeah. Okay.
And I can go the other direction in terms of stereotypical accents and do the all right then, Gov, but like, which I do for characters sometimes.
And on that note, we should definitely switch over. All right then. All right, my lovely. Hello. Hello and welcome. Hey, Riley, what's up? What's up, y'all? Welcome to Heroes of Iyastera Night, but a special Heroes of Iyastera Night. As you can see, we do not have our full team here because of different scheduling and life and chaos gremlins making their way into our respective homes over the past week. But tonight's going to be a very special night because we are going to announce a brief hiatus from our normal programmed scheduling with our Heroes of Iyastera session. One of our players, Candice, Spirit Jam, has to take a little bit of a hiatus while they are moving house. They're coming back to the UK. How exciting is that? So bring in the fam a little bit closer together. Marlo's still in the US. Maybe one day bring them out to this part of the world. I can't say that anymore. I'm in Belgium, but we're still a little bit closer, you know?
Yeah.
So because of that, and to respect the fact that Candice has a huge role in this next part of the story, we're going to Yokul, we're going to the Athenium, we've got to have our Burb Hedgewitch researcher. We can't do that without them. So we've decided together that we are going to launch a mini-series using Bard RPG still for the month of February. And then we will return to our Heroes of Iyastera. Is that Froggy meowing? Froggy, what are you doing? What are you doing? He'll figure it out. I have no idea what that was. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't rocking my chair back on his tail or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think that's part of the music.
Oh, is
Yeah, I
it?
was thinking I can hear a meow, but I'm not sure
Okay.
whether it's...
Jazz meow, is it?
That's Jazz Meow. Chill Jazz Meow.
Meow jazz, meow jazz.
It's gotta be Jazz Cat. The hidden Jazz Cat. So yes, we're going to return to Heroes of Iyastera in March, but for February we are going to start a new mini-series. And tonight is very exciting because you'll get to see our session 0. So you will see a little bit behind the scenes, a lot of the similar kinds of conversations we had when we were preparing for Heroes of Iyastera, which we had all offline, both individually with each player, but then as a group, to try to determine what kind of story the party would like to tell. And this is a great time to do it, I think, as a little bit of a brief hiatus, and it'll also let us really test the boundaries and the reach of Bard RPG. Because of course, as you know, or as I hope you know, or you will know soon, it's a genre-agnostic system. So tonight, our goal is to have a pseudo campaign prep chill creation kind of stream where we just talk about what kind of series that we want to have. I did throw the GM narrator torch out there to see if anyone would catch it. But soon. I think this will be another very interesting way to continue to play test the system, especially since we just sent out some emails for the team. Riley, did you get your email? Did you get it? Did you get it? Check your emails. I'm so excited. I just want to make sure. It went out the right way and I got the right emails for everyone. Not that it's a huge team, but that's what we're going to do tonight. So, yeah. We should probably start. You did? And you replied, yay! Hype. You have 40 minutes. Oh, dang. Hey, Hops. So, I think we should start before we get into talking about your archetypes, because this miniseries will have all new archetypes, a new little plot line, new little storyline, complete reset. Before we start talking about that, though, we should talk about the genre and what kind of story y'all want to do. Can confirm Josh also got the email, hit reply all. Well, since we've got more of the Bard RPG crew in there, what genre do you guys want to see?
Yeah.
See us test out. We threw out the idea of Western, but we're going to have this mini-series for the entire month of February. I thought about doing February again, but I like the idea of branching away from fantasy.
Yeah.
I think that could be fun.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah. And thankfully, our overlay isn't so specifically fantasy. That could be a Western or
absolutely
a sci-fi.
Especially with the cliffs there.
Yeah. If it's sci-fi, we'll see if Jen can do like quick little UFOs or spaceships or something. We'll mess with it. We'll do something funky with it. I'm still under the weather, so I'm too much power. Don't put that on me.
Take the power.
Western would be awesome. So would sci-fi. We could do a bit of a Western sci-fi, get a bit of a Firefly vibe if we wanted.
Bop.
Bebop. Oh, that would be good.
Sci-fi noir.
Still under. Ooh, I
The
like
music's fit.
a noir. The
Music's
jazz
fit.
is influencing our decisions.
It is a little bit, yeah. It's getting into my skin.
If we want to have jazz be the musical theme for this mini-series, we totally can.
You can take my title for a role-playing game I have in the future. It's called Sword Jazz.
Sword jazz?
Yeah, which is going to be like a fantasy jazz mix, like Samurai Champloo, but like a.
I like that. So Hops says Westerns too underrepresented. Agreed. Sci-fi Western. Riley goes Firefly vibe would be awesome. Well, I mean, I think we've got. Okay, let me write these down.
Yeah, let's get some notes.
Let me write these down.
I'm gonna start thinking of a character already.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be great. Why are there muddy paw prints on my notebook?
Was that Froggy?
It had to have been.
Big signed it.
Look at this. Look
Froggy
at this.
signed it.
You guys probably can't see. You see the little smudges in there? Jazz noir. So okay, so we've got
Sword
sci-fi,
jazz.
Western.
You can take sword jazz.
Sword jazz.
You can have that.
Sword jazz noir. Sword noir. Jazz. Midnight sword. Space. Jazz. Saxophone. Just throw them out there. But okay. We have a mini-series idea for genre.
Saxophone. Does that work? No, doesn't work.
Sorgsaphone.
Swordsaphone. No.
We'll workshop it. But we have sci-fi western, but like saloon, noir, like dark western. I love dark western.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with mechanical prosthetics and things.
Noir.
This is a very niche
saloon.
reference, but as a child, one of my favorite Doctor Who like spin-off books was about like weird steampunky steampunky western planets. So it was still Doctor Who, so they were still going to an alien planet. And just that's
I
the
like
vibe
that.
that's stuck with me.
I like that. I love this genre. This mashup genre we're creating.
Saxify.
Well, so also, folks, let me know if the music's too loud. I just turned it down a little bit. I don't want it to overpower anyone's voices. Thanks, chat. What 1 in 20 TTG is rating? Hello, thanks for the raid. Cheers, friend.
Hi.
Yeah. Lindsay Sterling Roundtable Revival music video. Have not. But I'm guessing we'll have to look it up for some inspiration then. Feel free to drop stuff in Discord or DM on Twitter, whatever it is. How's the stream going? It's going great. We are planning for a new mini-series, and we are going with a sci-fi, western, noir, saloon kind of feel. You know, spaghetti western is a thing, so what if we call it like space... No, we can't do... I guess we can't do space western. Hold up.
What?
Remember that like synthwave, retro synthwave stuff I was posting on Twitter a while ago?
Mm.
We could do like retro...
A retro synthwave western.
A retro synthwave western. That kind of captures a lot of
Oh my... Yeah, I feel like...
Yeah.
retro synth
opened up a new portal in my brain.
western, and I love it. Oh, man.
We've opened one up on the chat as well.
We know, right? Western violence, sci-fi-ish, space getty western. Yes. Spaceballs? Bypassing that. Okay, there are so many rabbit holes here because now I'm also thinking of like an old Japanese film called Tempopo, which was described as a ramen western, like a funny Japanese foodie based
Fruitful.
western thing, and it was it was one of my favorite movies.
Have you seen the Korean film, The Good, the Bad, and the... What's that called? Like a Korean western. It's amazing. It's not The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's
No, but it's something similar because it's three guys. Did they witness a murder and it was told from different perspectives, or no?
I'm not
That was
sure.
something else. Anyway, we're getting off track. I think we have our general our genre, a sci-fi western, space getty kind of thing, retro synth, whatever we want to call it. We've got the vibes.
Yep.
Now, what kind of story? Because when we did our Heroes of Iyastera Session 0, I wanted to get some ideas of what kind of story you wanted to tell. Obviously, we are all enjoyers of the role-playing, and with Bard RPG, it is very role-play, very archetype heavy.
Yes,
But when it comes to the good, bad, and weird, nice.
So good.
And thank you for the Discord DM vid. Thank you. So when it comes to the different types of challenges, so as we've gone over before, within Bard RPG, instead of skill checks, instead of it being very combat heavy, you have different types of challenges that you will face, and those challenges are categorized as puzzles, encounters of either the social or combative kind. You also have obstacles, and you have mysteries or investigations. So are there any specific kinds of challenges that you would be drawn to a little bit more with this? I almost feel a bit of an investigation heavy kind of thing, which might
that
suit
would
a
be
mini
cool.
series pretty well, actually.
That would be cool.
Like the two things that struck my mind immediately, even when we first started talking about Western, were either like investigation noir type thing or being the baddies and doing a heist.
Oh,
They both take a lot of role playing. A heist would be cool.
A heist would
Or
be
bank
cool.
robbery.
Well, there's another question. Do you want to be gray area types of characters? You don't have to be heroes.
I feel like Grey Area fits well with the genre.
I'm getting chills.
This is the Bard RPG. This is Scriv's new system.
Yes, which is going to Kickstarter in May of 2022. We were doing a 5e fusion kind of approach to our Heroes of Iyastera campaign, but we have switched over to the new system. It's genre agnostic. It is all ages friendly, very streamlined, and we are using our stream to frighteningly do a live playtest for all of it. So yeah, this is going to be a good test of how we can adapt it, or it actually requires very minimal adaptation, but how we can shift it to different genres easily. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Hopefully you enjoy it with our miniseries.
Yeah.
So, okay, the first step to determining how we go about this is, of course, the genre. What kind of characters you want to play? What?
I'm just thinking, like, there's so many pairings. Like Kit and I could play. Something like Butch Cassidy. There's all these pairings in the genre.
Ooh. Oh yes.
We could be like outlaws and.
You could totally be outlaws. We could do a play on the good, the bad, and the weird. Because there's going to be 3 of you. Because unfortunately, Sash won't be able to join until March, which is why we're doing this hiatus and going into a miniseries.
Exactly.
Jen's not able to join on tonight, but
the 3 of us
we'll get her looped in, no problem.
Could be doing a heist.
That could be fun. Okay, a heist. I'm not going to ask too many questions.
Could have different skill sets.
Different skill sets. Okay, so we've got gray area, heist / investigative noir. Different.
We have to scope the bank out, don't we?
Skill sets.
What's the word? We have to. I forgot the word for it. When you go into a bank and you look at the camera.
Gotta case the joint.
Yeah.
Case it.
Gotta case it. A little bit of a Honey Heist feel, but not quite as cutesy.
And of course, we'll have personal reasons for being so invested in this.
That will come into your goals. So I think now is a good time, because we don't want to give away too much of the plot. Got to give us some time to work on it on the outside, but getting some good ideas here could go full money heist. Let's start talking about archetypes then. So for those of you who are not familiar, who have maybe not seen some of our previous streams going into Bard RPG. Bard RPG is based on different literary and psychological theories and concepts, and all of the mechanics within this game fit those literary terms. There's a very heavy storytelling component to this. So of course, instead of classes, and races do not exist in Bard RPG because it is genre agnostic. Instead of traditional classes like you have in D&D, we have archetypes. So your archetype is based from 2 sub-archetypes, one representing the will, the motivation, what drives your character to take action within the story. And then you have the action sub-archetype, the ability sub-archetype, which dictates how you interact with the story. So you have the why and the how. You bring those together and you have your full archetype. So with that, let's go through a quick review, because I know you guys you have those lists in front of you, I hope.
Yep.
Let's go through the will archetypes first, because before you take action, you need to know why you're taking action. So the ideals and wishes that motivate you, the why behind your character. And there are 6 different options, just as there are 6 different ability sub-archetype options. So you've got the innocent. You always seek happiness. You see the good in everything. You can sometimes be naive. The leader, bringing order to any situation, cool-headed and driven, dislikes gray area. The creator, driven by a desire to transform things into something new, clever and self-sufficient, can sometimes overcomplicate problems. The hero thrives on challenge and competition, a symbol of vitality and ambition. You hate losing. The rebel is a transgressor and provocateur who goes against the grain, challenges status quo, but can sometimes be a little self-destructive, going overboard. And then finally you have the nomad, wanderer, self-reliant survivor, believes that change is the only constant and method for balancing the world. But it might be a little bit difficult for you to play nice with others sometimes. All of these can fit very well into any genre. That's the beauty of archetypes. They are based on the Jungian archetypes, of which there are 12, now adapted for the Bard RPG system. Do any of those stand out to you for your retro, synth, western, spaghetti, noir, sci-fi, sax thing? We'll come up with a cool name for it.
Yeah.
Might do a poll on Twitter with some ideas.
That's a good idea. I want to be... I've got an idea for a backstory or like a motivation.
Okay, what are you thinking?
I really want to be the innocent for this one.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of, if that's all right with you, Kit.
Absolutely. I mean, Fen is the innocent, so I want to go the complete opposite. I was thinking like more rebel or nomad, with a very, very different vibe.
Yep.
Fen is so wide-eyed and excited about the world. I want someone who's a
little crusty, maybe.
Glasses knocked up.
A bit beaten.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the innocent for your will.
Innocent for my will, yeah.
Now, what are you thinking, Kit? You're thinking nomad or rebel?
Yeah. Maybe rebel.
Okay. Oh, that's a fun matchup.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a real fun matchup.
It's a dynamic.
I'm sensing some mind games a little bit with this already. Okay. Excellent. Now, let's think about the ability sub-archetype. So, of course, the ability archetype represents the methods you employ when you interact with the world and progress the story, the how half of your overall archetype. This also dictates your core action stack. So, for those of you in the chat, we don't have skill checks. There are no longer, with Bard RPG, any long lists of specific skills and abilities and spells that you have to keep track of and learn over time. Instead, we have an action stack represented by a wheel kind of diagram. And I should probably pull that up. But there are 4 different domains. 4 different domains in your action wheel. Let me see if I can do a real quick screen share. Let's do this. Here we go. Is it gonna pull? It should. Yeah, let me do a quick little screen share here and zoom in a bit. You're gonna not see our faces for a minute, but okay. So you see this is the prototype, rough draft, but you see our action wheel. So typically you have social, tech, physical, and magic. In this case, we can replace that with science. And that really is going to be the only sort of adjustment that you would need to make for this kind of genre shift, is what is going to go into the different domains of your wheel. But the beautiful thing, I think, about Bard RPG and the way these action stacks work, every archetype, every character has access to all 4 domains. But the domains that you are going to be stronger in are going to be determined by the action sub-archetype. So, for example, let's go back now. If one of you were to pick, say, a healer sub-archetype for your abilities in your action stack, you're going to have different strengths and weaknesses, a different stack, I keep saying that word, compared to, say, an explorer or a magician. I'm sorry, not healer, caregiver. So let's do a quick review of our 6 ability sub-archetypes and their action stacks.
Yep.
So you have the Sage. You identify and can manipulate patterns around you in both the physical and mental sense. Your primary, secondary, tertiary, and inferior action stack is going to be in that order: social, magic, or science. Let's move to science. Physical, and tech. Then you have the Explorer, a daring adventurer who levies physical prowess and survival skills to take on any challenge. You've got physical, tech, social, and science in that order. Caregiver, you use the technical and scientific skills at your disposal to heal and protect others. Your stack is tech, science, social, physical. Science can also be kind of alchemical in this sense as well, because we do also have tech. So we can be creative and have that kind of open-ended with what we think should go in that domain. You've got a magician. Not always, it doesn't always have to be magical. You transform the world around you with arts of illusion and abilities that extend beyond your physical strength. So you have science, tech, social, and physical. You've got a jester. You're a master of distraction and disarming with feats of acrobatics and cunning social navigation. Your stack is social, physical, tech, and science. And then finally you have the artist or inventor. You bring new ideas to fruition by creating new tools, inventions, and works of art. Your stack goes in this order: tech, social, physical, and science. And the nice thing about playtesting is that we can adapt and switch these around in a way that makes sense. And this is supposed to be a very streamlined and malleable kind of system. Give a lot of recommendations, but there's a lot of room to wiggle it around and make the story your own. So out of those ability sub-archetypes, what is standing out to you two?
For me, I think maybe Explorer. I like the idea of a rebel, grizzled character who punches their way out of problems.
Nice. Okay, so mark down Rebel Explorer for your full archetype. And your stack is, again, physical, tech, social, and science. Does science work for you folks for this? Okay.
Yeah.
I think maybe the wording might be slightly confusing having tech and science, but I can see how the two things are clearly different in my head. I think it is just the wording.
We can call it alchemy, if you'd prefer that.
Cool. I guess it depends on the vibe of what the magic, what the science in this, whether it's specifically, say, if it was specifically, if we were going like proper like high sci-fi, we could maybe specify like computing, but it depends on what the type of science it would be, I guess.
Yeah, I'm saying
because the tech category feels very like crafty almost. It's
tech, crafty, robotics.
Things.
Yeah.
Whereas the science category is much less physical, hands-on. It's more.
Think if we wanted to go into the realm of bionics.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
And that kind of thing. We could change
that as
the science, magic, bionic kind of thing. If you want to have alien types of abilities, we could move it into that as well. So sci-fi, we can do all sorts of stuff. So we can do like a bit of a cowboys versus alien or cowboys and aliens thing. We can do that vibe. It doesn't have to all be human. And if you have different abilities, different psychological, what are the words I'm looking for? Telekinesis kind of stuff, can definitely work that in. Because ultimately the mechanics aren't going to change. It's just the flavor that you're presenting your actions through.
Engineering's quite a good show, actually. Chris.
Engineering's pretty good, as long as we can make that very different from tech. Because tech, engineering, robotics for this genre, I'm thinking, are going to be all in that same kind of domain.
So I'm kind of thinking of like Full Metal Alchemist, where you've got you've got the tech, which is kind of all the stuff they do with their their bodies and limbs and stuff, and then you've got the alchemy, which is kind of their version of magic, but it's still sci-fi. It's still kind of like fancy sci-fi. Even
I was
Western,
thinking going back to Firefly, like River and Firefly.
Oh yeah, of course.
Having that. Kind
Absolutely. We could call it a supernatural domain.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. You wanna label it as that?
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Supernatural, that's a great.
Sweet.
That can go across a lot of different.
That can be very flexible.
Open to interpret. Yeah, that's great.
Okay. So,
good shout. Very good shout.
For the archetypes and action domains, we are maintaining physical, social, tech to include engineering, robotics. But then
supernatural, yes.
Supernatural versus what was previously labeled as magic or science. And that, I think, when it comes to switching up genres with Bard RPG, it's really going to be that domain that's going to be switched out most often. And there will be a chapter in the guidebook to go over different ideas and recommendations for that.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's, like I said, that's going to be the biggest, shift when you change the storytelling style.
Yeah, because you can apply it to anything. Like the vampire stories obviously have a supernatural.
Oh yeah,
anything
absolutely.
Like that, of course, like Stranger Things isn't just like kids on bikes. It's got the aliens and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go with supernatural.
Yeah,
So in that case, for explore, it'll be physical, tech, social, and supernatural.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's great.
If we want to switch those around a little bit based on your backstory, we can talk about that as well. Think of that as the way in D&D we do like feats, because we homebrewed so much with our 5e fusion stuff. So I'd really like to test this and see how we can evolve it and stretch the system. It's going to be fun.
I want to be the magician, Scriv.
Nice. Innocent magician.
Innocent magician.
Okay.
We are two opposites. We are so
You
opposite.
really are. That has a fantastic balance. So your stack is going to be supernatural, tech, social, and physical. Oh, okay. So both of you have social in your tertiary. So you're both going to be a little bit awkward. Oh, actually, that's interesting.
That Jem's character's gonna play.
I feel like they'd have to be. So both your secondary and tertiary actions in your stack are the same, tech and social. But then you just have your primary and inferior ones swapped between physical and supernatural. So that's going to be very interesting. Yeah, very, very nice. Okay. So we have your archetypes. We have your action stacks. And I'm going to make a quick note of that. Physical, tech, social, and supernatural. Now, for those of you in the chat, what does this mean when you have your action stack? So this is a D6 based system, and the position of a domain within your action stack will dictate how many D6s you can roll when you execute one of those actions. So for example, if something is in your primary domain, or if a domain is in the primary position within your stack, you can roll 5d6. Secondary is 4d6, and so on to 3d6 and 2d6. So at any given point, you are always rolling at least 2d6. And then the success rate will be based on the tier of the challenge. And there are 6 different tiers of difficulty for the challenges that, or 5 different tiers of difficulty in the challenges that our brave heroes here, or gray area. We'll say protagonists. Because a protagonist can be flexible based on the perspective given in the story. So that our protagonists here will be encountering. Okay, excellent. So now, if we are to look at your character sheets, and let's go ahead and pull up one of those for the chat so y'all can see it.
Yep.
I'll just do the screen share again. Excellent. So this is the example that's currently within the prototype guidebook. It's based off of our Heroes of Iyastera campaign. So you have your will sub-archetype and your ability sub-archetype at the top. So we can go ahead and swap this out for one is. So let's say, let's go with this Rebel Explorer one. Oh, have a wonderful day, 1 in 20. Thanks for tuning in.
Nice to see
Go
you.
get some food. What you gonna eat? Thank you, Riley. I wanted these to be streamlined and balanced. So, okay, let's fill this in quickly just as an example for the chat here. So we have Rebel and Explorer. In the center here, you'll put your character name and a little doodle, a little picture, something to inspire you. Other aspects, you have your different domains. So for the Rebel Explorer, you would want to have physical with the 5 in the box for your 5d6. You'll have tech. I'll just go ahead and do that now. Is that helpful for me to update that as we go along, just for the example?
Yeah.
You've got tech as your secondary, so 4d6. You have social. That's actually going to stay at a 3 for your tertiary. And then for you, Kit, we've got 2d6 for your supernatural. Of course, Rich, you're going to have that swapped, really.
Reverse,
So your 5 and the 2 are just going to be switched there, but the others will stay the same. The next key part that we need before we can begin are, what are your wishes? What are your goals and aspirations that will help you navigate this story? What is driving you? And very often these wishes are going to be related to your sub-archetypes. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about those now. So this is where your backstory ideas are going to come into play. And we'll talk about the rest of the pieces on the character sheet as we go along. Chinese takeaway, nice.
Yum, 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 yum. I know what my wish is. It's to, and I'm not going to give much away, but it's to unlock a personal secret.
Okay, so write that down. Unlock a personal secret. That's cool. I like having wishes that can be a little bit open-ended and don't reveal too much on stream. Perhaps the secret is something that you are not aware of, so you are actively trying to unlock it, so you're solving a bit of a personal mystery as well. Is that what I'm getting from this? Okay.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Okay, excellent. So, wishes. Unlock personal secret. Okay. Anything else you can think of?
How many do you want?
I would say try like 2. No more than 3. I think 2 is probably a good starting point.
Find a new body.
Ooh.
What? Are you? Oh. Okay. Find a new body. Are we looking at like cyborg, bionic man kind of stuff?
Maybe.
Ooh. Yeah, that's right. We don't want to reveal too much. We will save the full descriptions and the names. Or do we want to talk about names tonight? That could be a fun teaser.
Kez.
We'll figure it out when we get Kez.
As in,
well, there we have it.
The 1970s film with the bird.
Kez. Nice. Okay. So your 2 wishes. Unlocking a personal secret and finding a new body. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Kit, what are you thinking for your wishes?
I feel like my character has a personal vendetta against the person or organization that we're robbing. I don't know what we're robbing yet, but I feel like my character has a vendetta against that person. It's less about
the actual act.
Yeah, it's less, it's less about what we're taking and more about the fact that we're taking it.
You rebel. Perfect. So a personal vendetta against the antagonist. We have Steadfast Samwise as a new follower. Hello, welcome, friend.
Hi.
Thank you so much for the follow. Okay, I like that. So a personal vendetta against the antagonist, the yet to be named antagonist. And do you have an idea for a second one?
I think maybe I guess something along the lines of either rallying others to my cause or exposing like how bad I believe this antagonist person is, like getting more people on my side in terms of my opinions.
Okay, so
I don't know how to word that.
A true provocateur kind of leading the rebellion thing. So there's going to be some sort of sense of injustice, and you're trying to not only act upon that personal vendetta, but rally. So are you trying to unionize? Like
we're going against conglomerate.
Votes for aliens. Okay. Cool. This is taking on a bit of an anti-capitalist slant, and I love it. I am here for it. This is going to be great. Okay. So rallying others to a cause or expose some sort of corruption thing? Or perceived corruption and injustices? Because, of course, you guys aren't necessarily, like, black and white, good.
No.
This is gray area, so perspectives also, within this game are very important.
Opinion is very much clouded by their personal feelings about
okay,
the situation.
Let's not go
They're
too
not
deep.
About it.
Let's not go too deep into that vendetta yet, because I would like that to come out within the series itself. Okay, so both of you have 2 different wishes. Other things that we'll have to talk about on your character sheet. So if we quickly pop back to that as well. So you have wishes, your bonds. Those will come out as we go along. However, if you feel that you have a certain bond already by the ideas of your backstory, we can fill that in. We don't have to determine that tonight because I feel like that will give quite a bit away. So let's keep that blank for now if you're both comfortable with that. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's talk about special actions. So we kind of skipped over these before. These are special actions granted by your will sub-archetype. So special actions, mechanically, are going to be different from your action domains within your stack. These you can use as many times as you want. These are the ways that you progress the story. Special actions are going to be a little bit more overpowered. So you can only use them once per session or once per chapter. It's because this is a very storytelling mechanic heavy, so we're calling them chapters instead of just sessions. And they are directly connected to your will sub-archetype. So you have to invoke some element of your motivations, of your wishes, in order to use these in a narrative sense. So for the innocent, the things that we had before, and these are things that we're still fine-tuning and adapting as we go along. Remember, this is really the first true play testing of the system. So we had purify and resist. Each special action has kind of a more, not necessarily in a combative sense, but an offensive and a defensive part to it. So there are 2 sides of that coin. So for innocent, your purification or resisting.
I think I'll go for resist.
Okay. So in this sense, you would be able to resist the, where are my notes here? What did I have written down? And we're still developing these. So yeah, this actually works nicely for you, especially with the magician. So for purify, you can purge a person or object of some sort of contamination or corruption. And for resisting, you yourself can resist the effects of contamination or corruption.
Okay. Perfect, yeah. And I'd like to work towards a special action called Unlock.
Ooh, okay. So I'm glad you brought, absolutely, I love that. So I'm glad you brought that up. One of the ways in which you are able to progress and advance your archetypes through the course of Bard RPG is by continuing to evolve your special actions or your skill level, your strength within the different action domains through the expenditure of plot points. So plot points, for those of you who have not heard the breakdown for Bard RPG yet, this is a communal resource that the players earn as they go along based on how they tackle each challenge. If by the end of the chapter you have enough of them as a group saved up, you can then level up as a team. So that can be the evolution of a special action. That could be increasing the number of D6s you can roll for a specific action domain in your stack. And later on, that can also be if you want to take and adapt some special actions from different archetypes. If you're showing character growth in a different sort of way and you want to evolve your archetype itself, that is also something you can do. But of course, all of these evolutionary stages, these different iterations of your evolving character, need to be backed up by the actions you take. This is character-driven, not plot-driven storytelling. So in order for you to unlock another step to your special action, you need to show narratively and through the playing of your archetype how you want to do that. Everything's got to be backed up, and any action you take needs to be able to be used in such a way where you are actively driving the story. Just for a little bit of an explanation there. But yeah, so let's make a note of that. You want to work towards unlock. Yep, so special actions, Kez. So you are choosing resist, work towards unlock, and we can discover what that will mean as we go along. Love the idea of evolving archetypes. Characters don't stay static. They don't.
No.
Especially when you're going through any sort of journey, the journey changes you. And it's very rare, and I think kind of boring, if your starting character within the introduction and the rising action of your story, if they just stay static the entire time. That's plot-driven, not character-driven. And Bard RPG is all about character-driven storytelling, of you harnessing the power of your archetypes to drive that plot, to pull on those plot points and the story threads and all those things that you are able to gather and learn and pull the story in the direction that you see fit. So, yep, I agree with you, Riley. Thank you. Thank you. Feel justified. Excellent. So, now let's go to Rebel. Your options, and these are things that we can continue to adapt. Your double-sided coin is provoke or sabotage.
Absolutely. I am such a fan of being able to sabotage.
Yes, yes. So as a saboteur, which is very fitting, I think, with the wishes that you've chosen, that's why I like to talk about, now that I'm realizing this and we're going through active character creation together, I like the idea of determining your wishes first before you choose your special ability, because I think that will help to shape it. Because motivation drives your actions, so on and so forth. So for sabotage, you can identify the weakest points of a structure or system and discover how to affect them.
Good.
Nice. Very cool.
So
Bringing
you're
it all
picking
down.
sabotage. And do you have an idea for the name of your character yet?
I don't, but you know what? My favorite website is Random Name Generator.
Yes.
Let's look at some options.
Do it. Let's hear
I
them.
think- I think
Enjoy
Scriv-
those fajitas, Hopper.
Scriv, you said you were gonna in the end game you're gonna have like tables for names. You said about that, didn't you?
Yes.
Multiple
We'll have
choices.
different tables for names, for ideas for wishes, things to really help get those creative juices going.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for this one, we're actually going to have within Bard RPG and within the guidebook a bit of a personality quiz. So if you have trouble picking an archetype after you've chosen your genre,
Really cool.
you can go through like which archetypes best fit you and the kind of character you want to play. So my background is in cultural psychology, and I'm going to be working with a fellow psychologist who is also a TTRPG creator. I'm not going to release the names yet until everyone responds to those emails and we get it going. But I'm super excited to reveal the Bard RPG team officially, because, make it Twitter official, right? But there will be a couple of us working on this quiz, going into personality psychology, looking into these archetypes in kind of a deeper way. So that's going to be a fun thing. You have some ideas for names? Did you pull it up already?
Yeah, I think I'm going for the last name Kane, and
Ooh.
they will refer to themselves. They will use their last name just as their name. But
I love that. Kane is such a that gives me some chills. Okay. Kane with a C or a K or a Q. How do you spell Kane?
See, I've got a friend who's got a dog that's Kane, that's spelled Kane, and I think that's quite fun. But on the generator, it was Kain, which looks cooler.
That does
what does
look
the chat
cool.
think?
What do
Kane
you
with a
think?
K or a C?
I don't know, but it's Kez and Kane, which is awesome.
Oh, cool.
And maybe I'll go a C because Kez K.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go C then.
Okay.
Yeah, they start with different letters.
Okay, Kane. There we go. Cain. Kane, the saboteur, rebel explorer.
Nice.
Okay, excellent. So you've got sabotage. And the way these special actions will come into play, instead of, how did I have this actually? You can roll 66 when you use them. They are more powerful because they are something that are very in tune with who you are. But again, you can only use them once per chapter, so you have to be careful. You've got to be choosy with it. And when it comes to trying to overcome these challenges, when you are taking action, I mentioned there are different tiers. We also have something called a story wheel as a game mechanic. So for more complex challenges that you have to try to overcome, you have to work towards the turning of that wheel. If maybe things don't turn out the way you planned, that wheel can actually turn backwards, then you have to make up for it, because actions have consequences. So I will also end up having different tables for what kind of consequences could come about.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's a cool idea.
So we've got that. And let's go back to the character sheet now. So you've got your special actions chosen. Let's do a quick review on where those are going to go on your character sheet. So that'll be right down here. And then key items. I would like for both of you to come up with one key item, your signature tool, weapon, thing that you use most frequently. You don't have to come up with it right now unless you have some ideas. We've got some time. But that is where your key items would go. Separate from your inventory. You don't put your whole inventory here. So
I want to have a thumb key.
A thumb key?
Yeah, so my thumb transforms into a skeleton key.
Oh, that's cool. Skeleton thumb key. Got it.
It's a bionic thumb.
Yeah, key items. Bionic thumb. That's fun. That's very fun. Okay. Cool.
That's what she uses most of the time.
Oh yeah, what are your character's pronouns? Did you just say
she, her, yeah.
Is there a random pronoun generator?
Might be. Of course there is. There must be.
I don't know what gender I want yet. I'll
Don't
have
worry about it.
I'll see what speaks to me.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be done tonight. Because we've still got to work with Jen off stream and do this same process with her.
That'd be fun.
Okay, but that's where your key items will go. And just for giggles,
Thank you.
that's it, folks. So that is character development within Bard RPG. Super simple, super streamlined. I'm very happy to hear some of the feedback on this character sheet that we've heard so far. Other pages. Oh, Steadfast Samwise says there is, in fact, a random pronoun generator. What? Nani?
Look.
That's exciting. Wait until Josh gets hold of this character sheet.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh my
that's
gosh,
really
it's going to be so good. Honestly, that's the basic concept, and then they can do with it. Josh can do whatever he wants with it. So other things for those of you in the chat that are going to be part of your character pages, really, you have your basic character sheet, but then you also have a reference page. Oh, I'm not even sharing. Dang. Oops. Okay, there we go. So yeah, that's everything that's going on your character sheet. We've done it. A little bit more streamlined than some other systems out there. That's how it'll look blank, of course, but much, much prettier. You also have a reference page for your action wheel, and you can fill this in with different things that make sense for your genre. Then you also have story threads. We haven't talked about story threads yet. Story threads are different from plot points. Oh, sorry. I missed something. This circle in the middle, that is where you'll keep track of your party's plot points. You can earn them individually, you can earn them together, but they all go into the community pool. And for the Kickstarter add-ons, thinking about having like special tokens for plot points too, just to have a little tangible thing. That'll be so cool. Okay, so we've got that. Story threads. If this were a video game, these are the things that are going to be sparkling and glowing. So story threads can be a person, an object, a piece of information, anything that you will be able to use to take advantage of that narrative weight, something that you can use later on to help progress the plot or shift the course of where you think the plot may go. So you want to make note of the thread, make note of the connections, like where did you find it, what other characters or NPCs might it be connected to, and what you think the next step is. A little bit of an active note taker page within the character pages here. And some challenges can only be overcome through the use of story threads. So story threads will come into play very, very nicely, especially if we're doing an investigative thing. So think of it as clues. And then, of course, you always need your backpack, right? So that's your inventory. But I liked having the inventory itself separate from your character sheet. That should just be like
the key item.
The quick reference things. But, okay. There's that. Let's transition back so you can see folks' lovely faces, not mine. I'm all patchy and rashy still. But these two lovely faces. Oh, wrong way. I always point in the wrong direction. Okay, so we've got bits of backstory now. We have ideas. Now, I want to ask one question. Thank you, Riley. I thought so too. I don't like a cluttered character sheet. I don't like it to look like an eye chart, especially if you're looking for all ages and accessibility as well. A cluttered sheet can just clutter your mind, honestly. I like to have it nice and clean and balanced, and that way the focus isn't so much on constantly referencing things, but for embodying your archetype. It should be focused on the story. That's why you also don't have, even though I love miniatures and I love people who paint them, and I love the painting of miniatures, it's great, there aren't minis for this game. They don't have to be. It would be very easy to have them if you wanted, but it's just not that kind of system.
It's so interesting because I had a conversation, quite a heated conversation on the Inspirals Discord about Pathfinder, the Pathfinder sheet, and I put our Inspirals sheet up on there because I thought it was really user friendly and like simplified and everything.
It is. I love how it
accessible.
looks.
And they were arguing that it's not as accessible as the Pathfinder sheet. And I said to this person, I said, well, if you didn't know anything about the game, you're coming from it from the point of view of having massive experience with it. If you knew nothing about the stats, nothing about the headings, nothing about the boxes, is it then as accessible? Not at all. It's because it's a new system.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, but like.
And I think that's so important, especially when it comes to Inspirals, when it comes to Bard RPG as well. We want it to be all ages and new player friendly.
Yeah.
So all I want to have is the sheet and then the brief descriptions of what goes in there.
Yeah.
Ideally, this tells you everything you need to know about it, because any action you're going to take, anything you'll need to use as an active player in the game is all on this page. Ideally, in theory, who knows, playtesting may reveal other things to us as we go along, and that's okay. That's part of that iterative designing process, and we need that. You've got to always playtest. Even if you're creating an adventure, a story for a system that's already in existence, even if you're not, designing your own system and mechanics, you should always playtest, because you never know how people are going to interact with your story. So... oh yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, the sheet makes sense, but on Roll20 especially, it's 5 solid pages of data, far too cluttered and overwhelming. Some people like that.
Yeah.
They do, but I feel like it's more accessible to a wider audience of players if you're able to clean it up just a little bit. But Pathfinder and D&D and Burning Wheel, that's another super crunchy system. That makes sense because of the design goals and what the intended playstyle is for those systems. So when it comes to things like Inspirals, when it comes to things like Bard RPG, the design goals are different. The intended playstyle is different. So you want your tools and the mechanics you develop, you're a little bit of a game design thing, right? In my view, you want to establish what your design goals are, what your intended playstyle is, what are you trying to encourage in your players and the GMs, and then how do you make sure all of your mechanics, all of your tools, like a player character sheet, how do all of those directly support those design goals? If you start to stray and go in different directions and follow that rabbit hole of, oh, this is super cool, that's super cool, and just try to grab at all the will-o-wisps, it's going to end up feeling very cluttered. But
just use what you need, the bare minimum, what you need. They leave the rest to the role playing.
Exactly. That works hopefully for this system anyway.
Yeah.
But okay, well that's character development. It really is. So the next steps for this are going to be for me as your narrator, because we're not ready yet to try the GM-less, the open narration style yet. We've got to develop those story maps, but that is going to be a play option for Bard RPG. You can do a longer campaign, which is led by a narrator, or you can do a short story map kind of thing where you collaboratively go through together. Of course, that is going to have a little bit more when it comes to the adventures that are provided, and that's going to be one of our stretch goals for the Kickstarter as well, to have 3, depending on what we have, maybe up to 4 if we do really, really well with it and knock it out of the park. But 4 different story maps that are ready to play. You don't need a sole narrator for it. That's why I'm calling it an open narration playstyle for the story map. And you can just go through it, and it has everything you need there. But for this, we're doing a campaign. So the next step for this is going to be for me to take some of these ideas of what you want. So let's talk about that a little bit more before we end the stream tonight, because we didn't want to go too late. How are we doing on time? How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Go to 12, yeah.
Okay. Not bad. So I'm going to ask some key questions here. When it comes to this heist, what kind of thing are you trying... Ooh, do I want to ask this? What do you want to be stealing? Oh.
Kane doesn't care.
No, and also Kez doesn't care either. So you.
Okay. How about this
Kane
then?
just wants to take it.
As long as it's behind something. As long as it's behind something.
And you have to infiltrate. So
Yes,
you want to have to infiltrate, right?
Yes, that's the only condition it has to be in.
Key themes. So heist,
Security.
infiltration. So you want to have a little bit of a sneak kind of thing here. Okay. Nice. All right, in that case, let's talk about some other safety measures and boundaries. We talked about this during Iyastera as well. Within this kind of genre, are there any themes that are going to be like red flags you absolutely do not want to touch? Any themes that you're going to be uncomfortable with, that you feel comfortable talking about on stream? If not, we can take that off stream as well.
Just harm to children and animals.
Yeah.
None of that. Definitely none of that.
Excellent.
I'm going to be playing a young girl.
Okay.
So I don't want any like sexual sort of things.
Absolutely.
with the character.
Okay.
Romance, I suppose.
Okay. See, that's why it's good to have these kinds of conversations.
Definitely, yeah.
And I highly encourage any player out there, you can initiate this from the player perspective as well. Have these conversations when you're able to. If not, try to make the opportunity to do so. Because you never know when certain themes are going to upset someone, are going to trigger different possible memories or uncomfortable thoughts. So it's very important to have that open and honest and respectful conversation. Built-in safety tools, yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Haven't finalized them, but there absolutely will be, and there needs to be. Whenever you're having a game or a system that is as open as this is, I strongly believe that there is going to be, and there needs to be, a chapter on safety tools and some kind of guiding points for having these kinds of conversations. Definitely.
Yeah, really.
So we'll talk about that more offline as well, because I want to get some ideas from the team. That will be one of the conversations that we have as the full team. Thank you for bringing that up. That'll be its own chapter, actually. Okay. Another.
Anything from you, Kit?
Yeah.
No.
Not in particular? Okay. Another thing, and I bring this up as an example often because a previous player that I had back in D&D games would bring this up as a theme that they absolutely did not like. And I can see how it could potentially come into play with this sort of genre. Any sort of amputation, loss of limb, loss of eye.
Exactly.
That is absolutely something that just
Physical things, yeah.
did not like. So we've got to respect that. Does anyone have problems with that sort of thing?
Not personally, no.
Okay. And as we go along, because it's hard to really come up with everything, especially when we don't have the story. Phobias, yes. Phobias are worth considering. Do you have any phobias and aversions to things? That kind of...
No, but in every session I've run of Inspiral, someone's come up with spiders. Every single session with the kids. Different children.
Yeah.
Said no spiders.
Spiders can be scary. 100% no spiders? Good to know.
But there you go, yeah, exactly. So, but again, nothing for me.
You know something I don't like? I'd be able to handle it, and I don't get very squeamish, but anytime it comes up in a movie or a video game, that visual of seeing something crawling underneath skin.
Oh.
Oh, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Oh, I don't like it.
On that similar vein, like, you know, there's a word for it, like when there's holes in your skin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad.
So maybe we step away from those, seeing the reactions.
Yeah, it's just horrible. Don't watch the new Elden Ring trailer if you've got any.
Oh boy. What's that, Conjuring Club? Welcome.
Trailer for it.
Ooh, see, Riley, that is not okay.
Yeah,
That's not okay at all.
That's why the safety tools are absolutely vital.
Because you can talk about things at the beginning, but then you also need a way to reinforce it. Yeah, body horror.
Yeah.
So let's stay away from that. Y'all know me, so you know I'm not going to go into certain things anyway, but I want to have this conversation on stream because I do think it is important.
In terms of
hey,
because obviously this genre is a slightly darker, grittier genre. In terms of the general like rating and content, are we keeping it similar to Iyastera in terms of all ages still, or are we going into slightly?
I'd think so. I'd think so. Because I think that's appropriate. However, if we wanted to do other spin-off series, we don't necessarily have to do so. I would just want to make sure that we preface it appropriately at the beginning of the stream, talk about content warnings, and take the family-friendly tag off the stream. But if everyone is comfortable with keeping that, then we will keep it more family-friendly.
I think we should try to keep it that way. Just because it's a bit grittier doesn't mean it has to be.
Exactly, and that is a common misconception people have. Just because you're doing a family-friendly game or creating family-friendly content doesn't mean you have to stray away from things that are legitimately scary and bad in the world. If anything, I think that it allows you the opportunity to address those things. Children don't need to be infantilized in a lot of ways.
100%. Yeah.
And kids are very, very aware, much more aware than adults typically give them credit for, about the things that are going on in the world. Look at a lot of the real world struggles that we've been facing over the past few years. We have cases of racism. You have cases of attacks on public areas in the US. I mean, we've got so much, and they're teaching gun safety. And you know, what to happen, what do you do if there's a shooting at a school to young kids? So you can't say you have to shield kids from absolutely everything, because the world is not always a very kind place. But I don't believe in the grimdark thing. And I agree, Riley, it just has to be handled with more sensitivity when it comes to family-friendly content. So as a writer, as a storyteller, as a GM, this is a bit of advice. I would think very carefully about the kind of themes you're introducing and how you're introducing them. So if there are things like gun violence, if there are things like human trafficking, you've got to be really careful about those things. Think about how you present them if you want to have them as a theme in your story anyway, because these are things that do happen. People have slavery and racism and all this kinds of stuff in D&D and in fantasy settings. Be careful about how you're presenting it and what kind of repercussions are there. What kind of perspectives and actions are you rewarding? What kind of perspectives and actions are you allowing your NPCs to kind of get away with as well? And how do the NPCs in an area, in a town, in your interactions, how do they respond to another player who could be potentially gravitating towards more problematic themes? One very, very basic example, kids could be such murder hobos, right?
Yeah.
They totally can.
Oh, yeah,
so we
yeah.
and I love this kid. I have nothing but love for the original Heroes of Iyastera family campaign crews, and I miss them so much. I want to catch up with them and see how they're doing. But there was one kid who's getting really excited about being a rogue and wanted to steal from everyone, and was being a little bit stabby with the villagers. Well, this isn't the kind of behavior that's acceptable. Especially in that village, you know, very small, close-knit remote fishing village kind of thing. Runda, from the very first Luminous Lake Heroes of Iyastera adventure way back when. You remember that one, Kit?
I do indeed.
So there are ways you can handle things like that. One, by having repercussions for actions. If something is not appropriate within your world and it's not a theme that you want to encourage, you can have it present, you can have it there, you can be aware of it, but make sure there are repercussions for it. So you are creating your world. You're creating the expectations and setting the tone for behavior as well. There are always going to be bad people who try to do bad things. And unfortunately, that's kind of the way of life and humanity in a lot of ways. Humanity, I think, is both glorious and amazing and beautiful, but also truly horrible in other ways.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. So there are ways to approach that in a sensitive and productive manner, I think. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Love you guys. Yeah, body horror can be easier to do in a more PG way. You have to tone it. Yeah, find creative ways to go about it. We were all scared as kids and we turned out great.
Yeah, it's true.
Tell that to my 2 therapists. They think I'm great.
It's good to confront fear in a safe space.
Yes, absolutely. And 100%. And I think there are ways that we use RPGs to kind of confront things like that, to tackle some of the problems. And so talking about the sci-fi genre, sci-fi as a genre of fiction, of writing, of storytelling, has for so many years been used to do just that, to say what if things were different, to really dive deep into some of the darker areas of humanity.
Yeah.
Where you have questions of what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be a community? What happens if you have all this scientific advancement and people maybe do things in BioShock? You know? So sci-fi in general is very, very, very good for tackling some of those things.
Yeah, it's very on the pulse of these things, isn't
It
it?
is. Firefly, The Expanse, Battlestar Galactica. Take your pick, man. So you can do a lot with this genre. I know we do a lot of fantasy with TTRPGs, but I love sci-fi. I love sci-fi so much. So I'm actually really excited that The Expanse. I haven't fallen in love with something as strongly since Firefly. And in some ways, I like The Expanse better. And I love Firefly. I'm not gonna throw that out there. BioShock and Firefly, literally my 2 favorite things in the entire world. Yes, fam. This is gonna be great. Oh man, we'll get hyped because we'll be able to have elements of all that. We're gonna have fun with this one because it's a mini series. It's just going through the month of February, maybe a little bit into March. We'll see how things play out with schedules. I'm not sure if we're gonna start next week or the week after. We need to make sure that we've got time to work with Jen and hammer out some other things. And I need some time, actually. Yeah. So maybe not next week, but in 2 weeks, I think would be an appropriate start time for this. Because I know now I have the time to create our mini-series story map to think about how we're going to go. So we might maybe do a little bit of creative chill creation next week and talk about some of the campaign prep from the narrator perspective.
Well, that's interesting.
Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit without giving too many spoilers, but talk about the things that, at least from my perspective, what I try to do to structure a story. So a little bit of behind the scenes, not too spoilery, but this is part of the play testing, right?
You could always do that stream, and Kit and Jen and I could promise not to watch it.
I'll trust you. I'll be very careful not to give too much away.
Yeah.
But again, we're having fun with it. And this could be later on another adventure spin-off that we can return to, like the couple times we've done Gobos of Iyastera. So, you know, nothing wrong with expanding the bardic universe here. Yeah, it's good. But I think that's all we've got. You can't yeehaw in space. My friend, I can yeehaw anywhere I darn well please. And I will. We'll find a way. Oh yeah, y'all can hear my horribly generic Southern accent because I am an American, live in that expat life, was born and raised in the Southern states, you know, for all of my formative years back in the US. I didn't leave till I was like 20 something. But because we moved around so much and I lived in places that aren't always like stereotypically Southern, so like Southern Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, spent some time in Georgia, that kind of thing, Louisiana, I didn't adapt any specific regional Southern dialect or accent. My accent tends to be fairly neutral, and in fact, it sometimes slips more into like generic Southerner the longer I'm away from the US. So we're gonna pull this out, and it's gonna be horrible. Horrible. But you know, I feel much more comfortable being an American abroad and being silly with random Southern accents than I did living in the UK and attempting the typical fantasy British accent with a party of 3 people who are from the UK.
Oh, relatable. I mean, I would never on stream try and do a Scottish accent. I live here, but oh man.
I challenge each one of you to come up with your best, weirdest take on Southern accents. Oh, also, racial stats aren't a thing here, but be creative with this. Be absolutely creative with this. So, actually, you know what we can do for next week's Tool Creation stream? World building. We are going to develop the setting for this without revealing the plot.
That's good.
But that will help to inform it, because that's my approach. No crappy British accents.
No, we won't.
All right, love. I don't know. I don't even know what that was. I can't do it.
No, the apples and pears.
Just gonna go on my Jack Jones. I can't do it. I'm done. Oh God, help!
we're gonna lose followers.
I know. I gotta stop. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so yeah, we'll do that next Tuesday then. So keep an eye out for that. Right back here, a little bit earlier, probably around 8-ish GMT, 8:30. We'll see. I will not be inviting either of these two on that stream because I don't want it to be too spoilery. And I want to leave some things to the imagination and surprise when we actually get this going in a couple of weeks. So we will do some world building. We'll do some setting creation. And when you have a nicely developed setting, the story kind of reveals itself in a lot of ways. That's how I like to do it anyway. Everyone's a little bit different. Some people like to come up with the plot first and then build a world around it. I like to have the general idea, in this case, a heist. A corrupted organization of some sort. We already have some interesting cyborg kind of stuff in here, so you've given me a lot to work with a noir, space Getty Western saloon thing. So I think we'll be able to tell, or you will be able to tell, a very nice story. But with that, I think we could go ahead and wrap it up. So, announcements! What do you guys have? What's going on? What do you have coming up, aside from an exciting new miniseries? Rich, I know you've got stuff.
No.
You've got more than I do.
No, I'm actually having a break from any promotions and any Twitter stuff until Sunday.
That's nice.
I'm gonna step in completely away from any of that.
You've got to do that periodically.
Yeah, so I'm not plugging anything. I'm not.
Okay.
But I do. I'm just excited about all this, really. I am really genuinely
I'm so happy.
completely pumped about it all.
Yes.
It's gonna be amazing.
I'm so happy.
And every time I hear about the system, when you lay it out, I just think it works so well.
That means so much.
It sings.
Thank you.
Honestly.
Well, you've all helped inspire this as we've gone along. There's a reason why we started off with our Fusion 5e thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And while we've been going through our Iyastera campaign, I'm continuing to make tweaks to this because some of the things that we adapted into Iyastera were inspired by things that I've had in Bard RPG, because we always knew from the beginning that we would be making that transition. So I didn't want to go completely rules as written. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I'm very happy you like it. And thank you, all of you in the chat, for your fantastic ideas and conversations and some of your feedback as well. I hope you're as excited about this as we are. I think this will be a very fun project, a very fun experiment. So stay tuned for more, I suppose. Kit, you got anything?
Nope.
All right, so we've got 2 weeks to develop your concept for the characters. I'm not going to say, go crazy with character art, because it's for a month. If we love it and if we fall in love with it, then maybe we can do some stuff with it later on. But we'll.
This is my little doodle. Oh, I don't know what they're.
Oh.
They've got
Oh.
blue hair. That's all I know.
Ooh. And remember, you don't have to be human.
Ooh,
If you don't
true,
want
yeah.
to be. It's sci-fi. There's space. Ooh. I'm envisioning like a satellite outpost kind of thing almost. Not necessarily on a planet, but
be
maybe
good.
on a moon. Maybe
I've
on
just
one of the
started Deep
moons
Space
of one of the
Nine,
major
and
planets.
every episode we watch, I want to play a campaign on a space station. Every time we put on a Deep Space Nine episode, I'm like, I want to be on a space station, is what I say.
I mean, that could happen.
Yeah, that could very much happen.
There could absolutely be a space station involved. I'm thinking a space station. I'm thinking a moon colony. I'm thinking have some of that Wild West
Yes.
feeling to it, because if we're doing space
dust.
western, it's not just sci-fi. You've got to have that feeling of embarking into the unknown, of the frontier,
Yes.
right? So let's work with that. We'll workshop that. Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, nicey. We're gonna loop in all of our favorite snippets and threads from these different stories that we enjoy, but a lot of that will come out next week. Chill Creation night on Tuesday, 8 or 8:30 p.m. GMT, depending on how I'm feeling and if I'm able to go back to the office or not. But around that time frame, it'll be fine. Keep an eye out on Twitter, and we will do some world building. I'm okay if y'all want to be in the chat. I'm okay with that. Or if some of you do want to, we can do collaborative writing, because ultimately, this is going to be a place you're familiar with to some degree. We're not going to be talking about plot. We're not going to be talking about story threads, but simply developing things that you will know about. And then if there are things that I don't want you to know about, we just won't talk about it on stream. So if you'd like to join, you absolutely can, or in chat, whatever. We'll figure it out. But yes, very, very excited about this new endeavor. Thank you, all of you, for sticking with us. We try to be flexible and supportive of differing schedules on this stream, because ultimately we're doing this for fun. Because it's something that we enjoy, and it's a great way for us to actually see each other, a few times a month when we're all dispersed across different countries and continents. So, yeah, this is nice. That's how Iyastera started. It was a bunch of us friends saying, "Hey, let's do this. You guys want to do this? Should we do this? Yeah, let's do it." And that's how it grew. So, okay, that's all I've got. Saved rounds? Anything left in the barrel? Are you okay with having guns?
Yeah.
Firearms, okay.
Yeah.
You always gotta ask. But also crazy swords.
Yeah.
Laser, cyberpunk swords.
Laser swords. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, in that case, we're gonna go ahead and call it there. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening or rest of your day. Everyone out there, enjoy your fajitas and Chinese food. Enjoy whatever kind of food. I love food. I'm so glad my appetite's coming back. Thank you for joining us. And yes, thank you very much. And thank you to the new followers. That's fantastic. We even had a little bit of a raid. That was great. Yay. So you also have a good night, lovely humans. Yes, we are humans. We do human things. All right. Keep adventuring, keep scribbling, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.